squads, a head-to-head. DX versus Nigma Galaxy. Levi's taking shot after shot. He's a sniper with a hell of a scope blank, but can he take down a Nigma Galaxy member or two?
Sending in the massive bullets, booming in the lobby right now. DX with 4 players, Nigma Galaxy attempting to leave a compound that looks like a death sentence to me. In the lobby right now. DX with 4 players on the outside. Nigma Galaxy, Ralph goes down to the bleed out. You just wonder here, is Nigma Galaxy going to try and deny the points? I mean, I would personally in the situation. Lamborghini will hit the lovely nade, and that will be the finisher. DX finds himself a big win. Honestly, sort of to be expected. DX, once they get that high ground position, they are nigh on unstoppable. But it's Levi's, though, who has put in some unreal work this entire tournament from start to finish, carrying his team through some really difficult situations.
He's been the workhorse. He's been the workhorse of this team massively, Blank. You know, it feels like any situation, he is either the opener, the closer, the man in the middle that's kind of keeping the team glued together. That's what he is. You know, he's the glue of this team. And it's incredible just how well he can play on your screens here. And damn right, he deserves the spotlight. And the thing is, this is one of the games where he didn't even perform as well as we have seen him perform. That's kind of the crazy thing, right? Is even when he's still showing up, his heights have been so damn high throughout the course of the event. And DX, we know they're good on Erangel, so it's good for them. They actually get a chicken dinner out of it, Blank, because it makes their life so much easier now with the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, for them, that's the type of thing that's going to take them towards the top side of like first, second, third, which is really, really nice. Nigma Galaxy still continuing on that approach here. Get themselves a second place. I think it was 7 eliminations at the end of it. So continuing forward, but that gap between 5th place is getting further and further away now. Some of these teams towards the top start to distinguish themselves a little bit.
Man, big plays. Some smooth moves and exciting stuff. That's the crazy part. The storylines today have been delivering, and so are our squad. The unpredictable battles continue, but something that is always predictable is that Jason Kaplan will work in a few relatively good jokes in this next segment. Let's get back over there.
Big moves, smooth plays. That kind of describes the desk here, I would say. That's not a joke. That's just a statement. That wasn't a joke. You know, it is a joke. Max Man's hairline. All right, so that last game, Xavier able to get themselves a victory. Obviously, still trying to maintain their top 5 position. But obviously, the position they're holding was pretty secure to lock this one down. But still, we've had a lot of other teams make some big moves. Again, Duxan. Obviously, Benny, as you said, Max knocking himself to the car, not realizing when to get out properly. It does kind of hinder them potentially getting some more placements, but they still get themselves 10 points on the board.
Yeah, it's always a little bit rough when you just jump half a second too early before your car hits a rock or an obstacle and you just take full damage, the entirety of that full damage, and you just get instantly knocked. So very unfortunate for Duxan, but it's a similar circle. They still get double-digit points on board, so they are looking fantastic. Though, Jason, we have to talk about Nigma Galaxy here. Sure, they don't get themselves the win, but they got themselves a win to start off the day. Now they're getting themselves this second place with 7 eliminations. Coops, sure, is still doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the team, but Rauf has had a magnificent standout day today, so it seemed like the team is slowly rising around Coops to try and hopefully climb up in top 5.
Yeah, they said they wanted to go big, but I think they're just playing all or nothing PUBG Mobile here. They're having big sends through into the middle, and it really is, you can either do that and then somehow survive and win out some of those fights in the middle, or you get blasted upon entry. Thankfully for them, they're not being blasted straight away, and if you want to play this kind of style in the last day, I mean, it could potentially work out, but you're on a knife's edge as to whether or not it's going to work out. They're going to need to bring some extreme skill in some of those mid fights.
I mean, look at these rankings though, gentlemen. 9th place, 54 points. 5th place, 60. 6 points. And they would actually beat them in the tiebreaker because of no chicken dinners for Team K. So, like, that's all that separates getting into PMGC Grand Finals and unfortunately not being able to participate. But we do have to also mention Rook. We've been praising them being so consistent, so solid. They have fallen to 11th place here, and it seems like that consistency might have just hit an end.
I think that, as Kalash just mentioned, right, it's do or die for Nigma Galaxy and a lot of the other teams, and Rook are just not able to weather the storm. They're just struggling to take these fights. They were really good at reaching the later game and getting a few eliminations off the back of that. They just can't do that anymore because it is so competitive to reach a spot in the top 5. The Rook are slowly going to be out of the equation, and I think that teams at the bottom already, Jason, looking at Brute Force, looking at Gladiators, I think a comeback is nigh impossible right now for them to do unless we see one of the most insane comebacks. So, as we said, halfway point of today, teams are going to slowly be in the position of no return, I'd say.
Sure, but I mean, look, Duxan's making sure that the comeback is possible, right, for a particular team. I cannot believe, after losing one early in this game, but they're still being able to make a meal of it. Of course, you move into those fields and it's a bit treacherous. You're always going to have that kind of overlook from Xavier being able to pick away at you from that kind of angle. But I cannot believe what we're seeing from Duxan. All my South Korean memes aside, this recovery that they're making happen here right now, in the previous stage, they kind of scrambled by a little bit, and in yesterday's games, they scrambled by. So this is very impressive to see them have this kind of step up coming into the last day.
I mean, the thing is, they're keeping them in reach. They're keeping the possibility there, and they're keeping it realistic as well, like we mentioned with the 6 points. And the fact is, some of these teams, these top teams, are kind of underperforming due to Alliance. Unfortunately, I think for me, Influence Rage has been the biggest story, well, one of the biggest stories, I'd say, around our last chance. I was expecting quite a bit more out of them. The consistency we saw in group stage, obviously in league stage as well, with them coming out in first, or sorry, in the survival stage coming out in first. This team has kind of fallen off a bit, but they're still in the running. They're still in 8th place. It's just not that they're as dominant as we maybe expected.
Yeah, they keep losing players early. I was looking back on some of their rotations. They just always, not really clashing with teams, but they're on the rotation where they're very close to opposing squads. And unfortunately, they lose a player or two. And because you see teams like Xavier, like your Enigma Galaxies, or even your Duxans are able to survive as 3-4-man teams until the very late game, Jason, you just cannot deal with those full squads when they have such a kind of hold on these final circles. So yeah, we just need to see Influence maybe adapt their early stage a little bit more, but right now they still can compete for a top 5 spot, but as these next 2-3 matches go on, it's going to be even tougher for them to make that comeback. So Influence, I think they realized it's going to be like go hard or go home at some point.
I do also think for a team like Influence Rage, they're excellent when it comes to the slow roll holding down a location, but in this last day, things have gotten chaotic. Teams are coming in from crazy angles that they might not be expecting, and that's really throwing a wrench in the works.
We'll see if that wrench can be taken out of the works here, and Influence Rage can get a solid game under their belt to get them back into top 5. Let's head back over to our casters with our final Erangel of the day. Jackie and Blake, take it away.
Depends how good their grip strength is, Jason. It could be a large wrench, Blank. And large tools are normally quite heavy. But do they have the right tools for the job? Can they come back? I'd hope so, because they played a blinder throughout the whole event. So if Influence Rage fall short now, it would be a shame, mate.
Yeah, dude, I think that honestly for Influence Rage, that they've had a great start to their tournament over in their group stage. They looked incredible, right? But I just don't know, man. I just don't know what's happening with this team. Not able to get that performance that they were looking for on our screens right now. Is Influence Rage themselves look to keep things going. I love that BTR just runs with the cool and soothe every single day, you know. This guy, headaches galore, but definitely gives a fair few other teams in the lobbies headaches with some of their rotations and abilities to put down the pain. BTR currently in that 3rd place position, 66 points. At this rate, looks like both our Indonesian squads might be making it through to the grand finals, which is an incredible performance for their region indeed.
Oh, it is indeed, man. Really showing up when it matters most and delivering for themselves, for their legacy, for the fans at home. And that's what's got to be running through all of these teams' minds. Will the pressure get to them? Will they buckle under it? Or will they be able to turn into diamonds and deliver some championship level performances here in the last few games of the day? Because we have reached that halfway mark. Final Erangel, then we have 2 Miramars, and then it is all said and done. Plain path here, Blank, could cause some problems as we get into it.
Yeah, honestly, this is a struggle bus for them. Incos thinking to themselves, don't go to Nova up Noya. Don't go to Nova up Noya. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. IHC is going to be there, going to take us down. But some of the other teams trying to get in towards the lobby. DEX head out early on over towards Lipovka. Great game from them on that last one. Really representing their region extremely well on that side. I think that it's nice to see a team who is so consistently good at a map that you know that if they get themselves towards an end game, it's likely going to be a chicken dinner for them. And I think that DX in that sense, probably one of the best squads in the lobby that definitely deserves to head in towards that PMGC Grand Finals. I think think me and you, we're just definitely so biased towards the Indo squads though, right? You know, I think we'd love to see both BTR as well as Pasija Evos go through the legacy and lines from both those teams.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with you. You know, I think in terms of the talent, in terms of the way they've been playing, you know, screw the history as well, right? History is one thing, but the way they've been playing right here, right now in the present blank, they've been earning it for themselves. They deserve it. Then you add on the caveat being the history, the name value, the brands, what this would do for the fans as well, watching it, you know, having two squads that they can root for and really have a viable chance of them having a huge run at the finals as well with the level of competition we've been seeing from them. It looks sick. I think regionally we've done so well in terms of kind of putting a spotlight on the brightest sparks from all of our regions. Brazil has looked unbelievable throughout the entire competition, right? And Influence Rage, they still have that potential to be another Brazilian squad, another member of the LATAM Massive that makes it to those finals and gives that nation another team to root for, to fly the flag for. Same can be said with what we've been seeing from South Korea as well in Ducksan. It's just that their days are now getting a little bit more numbered. If they want to make that magic happen, it needs to be picture perfect. There is a squad, though, that could still make that journey occur for themselves. And it's kind of funny how mirrored it is with them and Influence Rage, as IHC are 1 point ahead right now. So the Mongolian team that are so bloody good when it comes to fighting, when it comes to scrapping, just need to get themselves some more placements, some tidier games, blank. We need to see them cleaning things up respectfully and easily. So that battle between Influence Rage and IHC there for 7th and 8th to try and get into the top 5, that's a key one. You do Alliance as well, man. It feels like, honestly, blank, they're only a stone's throw away from stamping their ticket, and we've seen they're looking like they're living it up today on the player cams. They're having a good time, you know, they're bobbing, they're laughing, the mentality is at an all-time high, and I think that does a lot for them.
Yeah, with a little bit of yawning coming through as well from Udo Alliance. I mean, they just think it's easy. Team Queso, though, they see Brute Force, and Brute Force currently in 16th place, just not having the best time of it whatsoever, just cannot get further into these matches. Neos comes in spraying. Get away from our boy Prepod. We want to get back up on his feet, get him into the game. There's still a chance to us. We promise. And Big Milo gets hit out by the AKM, and Team Queso don't really have a response here. In comes the cleanup crew. The ambulance has arrived.
Oh, the sirens blaring. Oh, call an ambulance, blank, but not for Brute Force. As Queso take damage and they start to slip quite quickly. The 2-tap turn around and they're done instantly. You've lost 2 players in the blink of an eye. Oh, the rapid response unit wasn't quick enough.
Man, Team Queso, they're at risk of falling out now. 60 points. Udo Alliance, like we said, having a really good day of games. Consistency through the roof. 58 points behind. Just 2 points away here. Udo Alliance, I think with the way that they have just been getting towards a 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st place here on Erangel, there's a definite possibility now that we will be seeing Udo Alliance overlapping on Team Queso, barring some crazy maneuvers over on that eastern side of the map. Udo Alliance currently in Milta Power, over towards Milta. BTR is playing. Reject holding strong, and they've got a line going across farm right now. They don't want to give free entrance to BTR. It seems to be what keeps on rocking them. But again, another Western circle here. For a lot of these squads, they've seen it before. They'll see it again on Erangel. It's been West all day today.
Brute Force. You found those early openers for free, but what more can they get? Seems like they might try and set their focus on potentially taking a fight here. They rocked up onto Inco and looked to strike, but realized maybe this isn't worth the risk. Maybe we're a bit too fragmented for this one, boys. Regroup and don't run the risk of just throwing everything carelessly into the wind after at least getting yourself a couple of elims to start this one. For Brute Force as well, it's probably worse for them, as Inco definitely having more of a viable chance of starting to build points. So if you fed them some points, you would really be laughing all the way to the bank. Inco would be happy with that. So they avoid each other and back off for now.
Not worth their time on that side of things, with Inco going down that last match in one of the strongest compounds as well. That could have been their ticket to glory up towards that top side of the lobby. But with the way we've changed things up in terms of the format this year, where it's so much more likely that you see the strongest team from each region, each PMPL, make their way through the championships and then get themselves a direct invite towards the league stage. I think that when you come to the crunch time over in this last chance, it's just no longer filled with 1 to 3 teams that are going to blast their way to the top, and fourth and fifth place just sort of open to someone who gets a little bit of luck. This time around, everyone's gunning for those first 5 positions on the leaderboards. Nobody's letting it up. No one's giving it up freely. So you can't just get good circles and hope to win off the back of getting some decent placements on the luck side of things. In terms of luck, that's not what's the case for Gladiators. This has just been a bad set of games for them. I think that they're going to need to reset, come into next year with a different mindset, because this has not been PMGC play, I would say.
No, you haven't been up to the bar, right? And I think especially just with how big the skill ceiling has been for our average teams here, you've been falling short. You know, even to make it this far, right, you kind of scraped on by with the last day heroics at every turn, at every corner. And that's not something that will win you games like this in last chance. It's got to be cleaner. It's got to be more consistent. And that's just what we've been seeing from our squads towards the top. They've been the only ones really pulling themselves far enough away from the pack and delivering, even when the chips are down, even when it feels like things have gone rough for some of these teams. They've kept their heads level. Meku will be murked by Pusher, as Rook are able to grab some points from that. Rook, interestingly as well, Blank, you know, they were one of the sides that were quite quickly building themselves a large chunk of points coming into last chance. They were playing really good center games, great defense. Whenever they had a compound to play in and they had center circle, they felt almost untouchable with some of the shots they would land on a defense. If anyone went for a compound crash, good luck. The longer these games have gone on, though, it feels like Rook have slipped more to just being a middle of a pack team. So kind of unlucky for them. I would like to have seen Rook still playing that consistent style a bit more.
Yeah, I think for Rook, it is like you say, it's just pretty unfortunate the way things have just gone downhill for them today. The first day that we saw them, they were looking absolutely phenomenal. Really strong central positions, central plays, but not to be anymore. Team Queso down to 1 player now, 1 elimination found on the match. And their spot is looking precarious. 60 points at the start of the day felt like such a boon to these teams towards the top side of the lobby. But now only 15 points realistically have been gained in this top side of the lot of them. You know, FaZe up to 75 with their initial 60 points on the day. So many teams underneath have just been battling tooth and nail to get towards that top side of the lobby, just clambering up what seems to be an unscalable cliff. Nice shots from Papi Potro, but it's not enough, as Team Queso will be wiped out of the game. 16th place, and we're barely in stage 2.
Early fights and potentially an early end to a storyline there, as you've now given yourself opportunity for teams to lap you a little bit. So they could be falling 1 game behind, Blank. That's the scary part. I suppose we do wonder then. You do Alliance, IHC, Influence Rage, even Duxan, all of them so close on points. How do they play? How's the infighting go amongst those 4 squads? And who is gunning for that 5th spot? Can anyone overtake in this lobby now off the back of this game? We'll keep you updated with that. We'll measure how things go and see how these squads play. But that is a rough first squad to lose. That's going to deal some damage to the standings and potentially cause a bit of an upset. Rook on the move here as well. Long rotate for them. In through the blue, going the whole way around, crossing a bit of a safety net with the other bridge. So they feel a little bit more calmer about their moves. Get the med kits out, reset yourself, and have HP to play with. And then start going in towards the new zone. Link up with the rest of the squad. It's a 3-man rotate, as Default was further ahead. He was playing for info. IHC here. How do they always know where Reject Tokyo are? I swear, Blake, they've got some sort of app that tells them where rejects are. And right now it is blaring. It's going... boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. We got the old Alien Isolation vibe going on for Reject instead. And honestly, the movement sensors, like you said, are off the chart right now for IHC. They know exactly where Reject head off to. And it's sad for Rejects. They feel like they kind of do need to have eyes in the back of their heads to spot out where these players are coming from. Constant backstabs here. Kevlar not in the front, but in the back for this team. Berserk, as you can see, did move up towards that northern edge. FaZe takes a lineup across the top of Everest. Pretty typical rotation for Procedure Evos as well, holding on this eastern side. And Inco, once again, this is very Inco of them. Just send to a central compound. Sit in it.
Classic moves. Vintage stuff as they set themselves up. What will they get done, though? That's the big question. Influence Rage. Ooh, might be bypassing them close on a road, so a bit of an audio cue there for one another. And see if anyone wants to make something out of this. But of course, Zinco would have to reveal their position, so they just let them coast on by. And they've driven up into the territory of Evos. Evos that are inside of the vehicles, basically just following Influence Rage now. Seeing if you can kind of pen them in. This is like the sheepdog play. And you get all the sheep rounded up and try and pen them in somewhere. So you can convert those sheep into points. Redface. Looking for the contact here further back. This is the opportunity they've been waiting for. Bombarding into the vehicle. Nice tracing there, Blank. Redface, he's been good with a gun skill. And the shotties up close are singing sweet nothings. Beautiful plays from Evos. They're looking really good mechanically.
Yeah, Lynx, what a good couple of shots coming through from the DBS onto Influence Rage. Remember, this is a team that we touted to have some of the best gun skill in the lobby. But Procedure Evos are just having such a good day of it today. And they have really lit up in terms of members. And I think, honestly, I prefer to see Procedure Evos not get that direct invite to the grand finals from their group stage, purely just off the back of the fact that I think Survival Stage and Last Chance has honed this team to a point, right? And I think when they do go to the grand finals itself, which I imagine they will do with the way they're currently playing, they'll look like such a better team if they didn't just get into that top 3 at start of things. So I think this has been a bit of a curse and a blessing for Procedure Evos because they've had to play ever so hard to get in towards that grand finals. However, this is just going to make them look so much better when they get there.
No, it's a really good point you bring up there, right? Because it's just more games. It's more games you've been able to play. Less jitters you're going to have when you're on the big stage. So yeah, definitely had more time to kind of iron out any issues back on LAN. Landing some shots, though, it's what's going to be done for Zerich as he comes in like a sledgehammer on the Reject Tokyo. And the sad thing is that probably is the final nail in the coffin being smacked in for him as well. Off the back of the play from Madballs. Yeah, going out 12, it really is a bit of a rough spot here in terms of the overall standings of where they're stuck down because you're just not going to get any points. And although it's only a couple points to move up to close the gap between the squads above you, you have no chance to gain any now. And you leave yourself with only 2 more games to be played. So it's a sad state of affairs for the Japanese squad that have always been on the tail end of things, always riding on the coattails and looking like they're close, but no cigar on this one, Blank.
Yeah, just cannot quite chase up to them. Next circle shifts here. You can see it where Madballs have a fairly decent position to play around with. Gladiators, this is just a last hurrah for them, realistically. Moves up to where Federal is playing. Currently has a nade in hand, tosses it through. Gladiators look to finish him off. Federal finds the first hit and will take down the second. And this is just kind of the way the Gladiators' entire tournament's been going. It's just getting outclassed by some of these other teams. And Federal able to keep his hopes alive for his team just a little bit longer. Those 2 points might seem minimal, but it might be just what Influence Rage needs going forward into those 2 final matches of the day. BTR taking a hit from Udo Alliance. Honestly, the best edge style team in this entire lobby. They are so comfortable playing this with massive splits holding on this eastern side. They finish off Satar in this situation too. DX, another central squad we have here. Thai team looking amazing at the moment on our angle. And honestly, for them, going in towards Miramar, it's a map where they still do fairly well. They still do fairly consistently from some high ground spots, but getting another good game here on our angle would just secure their position, right? Really lock them in.
Yeah, it would give them more safety. Hello. Scoped assassin coming out, though. Duxan peppering bullets on the distance as we're seeing some knocks being found. Nigma Galaxy holding strong versus Rook that want to rock the boat as they've pulled up to the compound, looking to clutch this one out of the hands of Rook. Okay, trades either side. Ooh, really low HP as well, but still standing, Blank. Kind of blessed with divine intervention on that one. You've got a sliver of health, and they find their way through it, weathering the storm to pick that one up. Stereo frags between the two compounds. Teams wiped off, so Rook are gone. So again, if that storyline for Rook was on the cusp of a comeback, probably not going to be happening anymore.
Yeah, I think when you look at it for at least Nigma Galaxy, like, they've done well to get towards the end games of a lot of these matches, considering where they were at the start of the day with barely 5 points on board. Up to 40 now, that's decent. Pre-pod, quick switch into the vehicle, avoids elimination by the buggy. But the circle will be dastardly for a lot of these teams on the outer edges. Right now, IHC, DX, Duxan, as well as Nigma Galaxy, all holding in these compounds that eventually they're going to have to leave, right? Walk out into open ground, make some slick rotations. But this really could favor any which team, right? Circle, hard shifts down towards any which of these compounds, be it IHC, Duxan, Nigma Galaxy, DX, or Mad Bulls. They're in for a good game.
They certainly are. And they're on to put a spectacle on for us. With the way these games have been going, been hard to call, down to the wire. With some of our squads really building themselves a way back into the upper echelons. Evo's here, always commanding respect. We were singing their praises for the level of confidence they've been able to establish today. Looks like IHC have eaten a nade though. It's basically a mortar strike. It's dashed out from BTR. Grenade after grenade blowing up in their face. And for IHC, they're going to be forced further back. Godless starting to stutter step further away and look to try and support on the flank. Duxan, they could try and third party on this if they want to. It'd be quite a journey for them, but they're hearing all of the noise, the commotion, the dinner bell being rung. UDO Alliance also a little bit further away from this. Some large nades being thrown. BTR barely surviving as there is shrapnel all over the shop. Difference is IHC have got such good positions. You've got the high ground here. You've got a nice angle to work with. You can peek from the rocks. You can peek from the top of the roof. Alex has got cover to play with. You push up on him. All BTR have is these smokes. And smokes aren't going to last forever, but they might get smoked literally. UDO Alliance, they were debating this, Blank, but it seems like they do want a third party.
Yeah, for UDO Alliance, they've been keeping tabs on pretty much everyone in the lobby. They had a really big split over towards our eastern side, so they could hear the fighting coming in from the north or the south. They smell it out down towards the south side and look to just bombard over towards BTR. A lot of nades been thrown, but not a lot hitting right now. And not getting those tag markers makes it difficult to ascertain exactly where these players are. And with Cluck already falling, that's not the greatest of starts. Luckily, Olio, the main man from the team, does initially find at least something. Only one player now remains from BTR on the other side of things with the DPS. Iftar takes a big hit, but it's not enough as Olio steps up and Demo will finish the job.
Nice work done. BTR blown to bits as they go down. And our squad's being thinned little by little. What remains of brute force in YDO, man, is just sitting in a smoke, trying to stay alive, trying to stay at least in the fight for a bit longer. Belly down to the ground now as Inko are close by. And it's Mormon that seems to have assessed this one, wondering why there's just a smoke out in the open. Mela gets contact onto him and finds the final knocking blow to take brute force down as they are out of the mix. So another squad gone now, Blank. Dropping numbers quite a lot here as we've already been able to find 6 squads out of this one.
For Inco, you know what? All respect to them. Make a decent rotate inward. Sort of create themselves impromptu compound alongside with the vehicles that they set in this position. But they're not going anywhere else after this. They're stopping off at this point. Duxan finally makes a rotate. What a pump out the vehicle. But Demo with a seriously good spree of shots will take down 2 from Duxan. And Demo will finish them off the back of that one. 2 players alive with just Binny for Duxan themselves. This could have been the game for their tournament run, but it comes in just a little bit too late. Binny low, Alex on the outside. Absolute demon when it comes to the gun skill.
Oh, yeah. Alex goes off. Alex the Annihilator is what they should call him, Blank. Whoa, right in the face. Point blank punishment, as he will say goodbye to Ducksan, denying the dominance from South Korea, as he does not want to allow them to get momentum. And that's a big play. It's a nice assault from IHC. And remember, the key fact that we were looking at was those three squads, Udo Alliance, IHC, Influence Rage. They were all toe-to-toe on top of each other. Hell, even Ducksan were right in the mix there. So that's 4 squads that could have lapped one another, with IHC taking them down. They've got 5 elims and look to really climb the ranks. Udo Alliance have to give a great test of themselves to deny that being a possibility, as they are neck and neck at the minute.
Yeah, fighting toe-to-toe one another at this point in time, but IHC no strangers to the cage match, because it's felt like they've spent their entire time just doing jiu-jitsu versus a lot of these other teams. Inco currently towards that central arena. Circle moved up towards that northern side. Procedure, Evos on the northern edge alongside with the Mad Bulls. It's FaZe attempting to get through this fielded area, but it's not looking likely.
FaZe. Down they go. Enigma Galaxy, even if they don't make it back into the safety net, they are at least being the reaper of the server, constantly swinging that scythe and just taking down some important teams, stopping them from being able to gain as many points as they would possibly want. So right now it seems almost like it is just aggression for Enigma Galaxy to stop these top squads. That's the mission that they have been going on, and it's been working quite nicely for them. Udo Alliance knocked from coast to coast as they look for an opportunity to try and pry their way back into this. IHC on one side, closely grouped with Enigma Galaxy there. Off to the other, you've got DX. They have an entire smoke wall barring them down the middle. Alex jumps in the vehicle. Same can be said for Demo as they look to focus on this potential fight that they know is bubbling to a boil over here with Udo Alliance, and they're just sneaking up on them, staying close in the smoke, looking for the first fight. Evos are there as well, Blank, so this could be a hefty clash here. A lot of teams on top of one another.
Lots of shots coming through. Inco finds a shot over towards the Mad Bulls as well, and will finish off Zerich in the process. Inco up to 5 eliminations on this map. Enigma Galaxy, they see the smoke train, they send in the nades, and it's all but over for them. Players from Mad Bulls still trying to keep things going though. A nice nade over towards Inco. Will at least find a couple, but it's Nenebeche with this off angle doing so much work for the rest of the team. Vitali is down, but the same could be said very much so for the Mad Bulls. Losing players here and there, but it's Freak from top side. Spots out towards Nenebeche. Good shots can come through. Frozen taking punishment from afar. Has to get away from the vehicle before it explodes, but Squash will find it.
Squash trying to flatten anything the Mad Bulls can bring to the table here. Redface, always so good at just scanning the horizon and looking for any firefights where he feels like he can steal points. And again here, that's what he's going to be building into. Enigma Galaxy, another one, as they backstab. That's Inco that are being pulled apart from either side, losing a lot of their manpower. Starting to buckle under the pressure. I don't really know if you can reset from this now. At Mad Bulls, they've got you all penned in. They've got you trapped, and you're being blasted from both barrels, from the front and the rear here, with Enigma Galaxy having the hillside control as well. Enigma that might actually have let it slip a little bit. So tunnel-visioned on fighting in towards Inco. Evos, from all the way over here, find a few pot shots to connect onto one player and get a knock-in for free.
Yeah, some great shots coming through from Lynx at the moment. I mean, they're still holding on that side of the map towards the northern edge. Really cheeky peeks coming through from the Mad Bulls, but both players on a lick of HP. No first aid kits to work with. The blue slowly consuming them too. Enigma Galaxy realizes, you know what? It's time to go. We can't sit on this side for too long. In comes Coops behind the tree. Doesn't know that Mad Bulls are also here. Happy to get the free elimination point off the back of this one if they can hit their shots.
Oh, Tulika. He's hitting some big licks as he will strike down another man. Low on HP. but still standing, still waiting. They're lining up, they're doubling up, potentially giving away a free collateral if the damage is there from Rafa. Burns onto the first, easy spray, converts it onto the seconds. Mad Bulls, they've seen red, but they're left down in the dirt now as they're gone. Enigma Galaxy, pressure applied, up close, want to swoop in and strike on Inco. They're burning, the Molotov spreading, the pressure being applied, everyone being sent off to the Burns ward, and Evo's third partying onto it to grab some of the points as well.
Fair play to Inco, honestly. They've really held down this position so amazingly well. It's a really tough spot to hold on to as well, where so many teams are taking shots at you. Luckily for them, they were able to kind of deny the sightlines from that eastern side, which is all starting to pop off now. It's Procedure Evos, DX, Udo Alliance, all unbelievably big behemoths inside of this lobby, looking to go head to head. CG Evos takes a lot of damage on their approach in, but they get the smoke train over towards this spot, and Lynx is moving forward. Will have to hit a first aid kit quite low. Can't quite take down all three players by himself, I'd imagine. But for Procedure Evos, this is a massive test of strength for them.
Oh, it is indeed. You're going to need to have that extra 20%. You got to go bigger. You got to go brighter and really deal some damage in a spot like this. Everyone scrapping for control of the compounds. Evos, they pulled up to the scene. They're ready for it. Meanwhile, Udo Alliance in some interesting angles, scanning the scenes. Look at him up on top of the roof, ready to make a ruckus. The nades could be huge, but he's only got the one. Throws away the smoke to assist his teammates and backs off a bit, potentially thinking about playing round the roster. This nade could have been worth its weight in gold. Instead, he sets his focus on playing with a team.
It's a cheeky play there coming through from Olio as well, getting top of that roof side. This really doesn't benefit anyone. Circle heading down towards the southern edge. You know what? There might be a chance for Inco. They get a big reset on the loot there, collecting all the death crates that they can from this northern edge, from the guys on Enigma Galaxy. Now look to hold towards the south hilltop. And all these other teams thinking that they chose the best position in the lobby, suddenly struggling just a little bit more. Nice shot though. Will take down Rafa. Rafa goes in, will explode the vehicle himself, but takes down Squash in the process. I can't imagine if you're too happy about this. If Inco goes down in 4th place, yes, you get the eliminations, but 4th place doesn't afford you a huge amount of placement points for your troubles.
It doesn't at all. Slow and steady then at the minute. You can see everyone realizes just how risky it is to kick off the fight, to be the first domino to fall. Any mistakes made will cost you dearly. Evos playing around the contact. They thought they had the gap here to go for the crossover. Instead, it's Udo Alliance to bombard down. Clean connection, instantly converted into a full-on elimination. So they get the extra point from that one. Play zone coming in as well. Redface being murked by that. Misery and Luxy, the only two really left standing to do much of anything here. Misery plays on the off angle, close towards the building. Whoa, nice shots here. Big tags, starting to put the pressure on. Quick switch to the DBS as well. He was ready for the contact. Near miss between the both of them. Diving through the smoke and applying the pressure. Looks to swing on in. Emitting through the smoke. Hits the first blank and he's still standing.
Swinging round, S12K comes out. Almost felt like you had it for Misery, but it's Olio. Quick swing up towards the top side. Now versus DX. They're down a man. Zone 9 starting to close in. The final one to hit. Will pick up Cluck in the process. Knows he needs his buddy to get those team shots off over towards DX, but they got the high ground, and Udo Alliance realized this was their best hope. Take down Inco. Take down the rest of DX.
And that's what they've got to do. They've got to find these pickups. They've got to connect these shots. Smoke wall thrown down. They know the location of Levi's. They saw him peeking from behind the tree, but they might be barking up the wrong tree on this one blank. You're outnumbered. You're outgunned. You're stuck on the hill eating nades, but it doesn't matter as the AK slays onto the first. Trade back. It all falls onto Cluck. So low on health and finished off by who else but Chow, as he'll connect that one and DX steal away the chicken dinner.
And for DX, another big chicken dinner like that, that right there is their grand finals ticket. It is so unlikely now that anyone's going to be able to pass them up in terms of performance. They have had such a sick last chance, and you can tell there's relief here for the team, because even if there is 2 more matches to play, it is pretty much donezo for this squad. They're ready to go towards the PMGC Grand Finals in Turkey and take it on with the best of them.
And they deserve it, man. They deserve it massively. DX were a side that even back in regulation, in what was dubbed the group of death, you know, they showed us so many big plays, so many moments of great teamwork. I think that is the one thing that sets this side apart, Blank. The communication, the way that they're able to rely on each other for trades, the way they use utility off of each other's calls as well. DX have all of the necessary talking points to have a world-winning roster. They've shown that, and they are looking championship ready right now.
And it's nice to see Pasija Evos, DX, Udo Alliance all in a squabble right at the end there for first, third, and second place, because all these 3 teams are consistently at the top of the lobby right now. They deserve to be there as well with all that they've done, with all they've been able to show us throughout this entirety of the Last Chance stage. And again, it's that differentiation from these squads that we're starting to see at the top side of the lobby.
Man, it's wild. So hard to call right now. All of the biggest brands, all the most exciting teams, all of the craziest plays from all of our nations. I don't know what to be said, but luckily we have a team of people so eloquent that they can talk about it, and their waxing lyrical will get you hyped. So let's get back over to the desk.
What can I say? We are quite the wordsmiths here on the desk, as Xavier quite the winsmiths, getting back-to-back chicken dinners, but not only that, almost solidifying them a place in the grand finals, kicking off in just a few weeks' time. And really right now, Max, the battle isn't for top 5. I think there's only a few places left that the teams are still trying to take.
I think Kalari said, what, 95% chance that now faced Xavier are 100%.
Probably.
Like, they're 95%, 100% qualified.
I was gonna say, what, Max? I know you weren't good with math. But...
Numbers ain't my thing, Jason. Okay, don't even try. But yeah, it's gonna be now, I think, competing for 3 slots right now in the top 5 position. But man, Inco, the Western side, because this is really rough terrain to play with. I think all the teams saw this circle like, okay, we're gonna maybe try and play a salvage mission. This was way more than a salvage mission for Inco. Ninebitch in particular, with that DP, just taking headshot after headshot on your phase, on your Mad Balls, clearing so much space on the Western
team
side.
having the MVP for the day is extremely unusual.
Really,
so for them to be able to go out and do that the way that they did, fantastic. But usually, the placement points do come with eliminations eventually. If you're able to end Erangel, though, right? Like, what a barn burner of a game. All of these teams vying for as many points as possible here, with DXAV getting that back-to-back. And looking good from that compound. They did have threats constantly hitting towards them. I will have to say as well, we noticed it for Udo Alliance, really good wherewithal to keep their cars in such a really well-defended location until they absolutely needed them against the rest of these teams. That really gave them an opportunity at this game. Not quite the win, but an opportunity at it.
Inco in 6th place, 4 points out. Well, technically 5 since they lose the chicken dinner head-to-head of qualifying through in top 5. Influence Rage in 9th with 57. We probably thought one Brazilian team was going to get through in top 5, but I didn't expect it to be Inco with the way we're currently seeing. And Team K still falling out. IHC still not really able to breach that gap just yet. But if you're talking about FaZe as pretty much being through, does it also mean Prestige obviously is going to be one of those teams as well at 78?
Yeah, seems like it. I mean, I don't expect them to get 2 0-pointer games, Jason, in a row. I think that they're still going to be able to climb up. So it's down to maybe just Pasija versus Team Kes. No, sorry, I'm on the. I don't know what's going to happen.
That's a big concern for all those teams trying to catch up, right? The fact that all of these teams that are already doing well on the leaderboard are pretty good at Miramar as well. That being said, again, like what we've seen so far today, we've seen quite the magical run from some of these teams at the very bottom that are trying to compete against adversity, I must say, for them. And likewise, those teams at the top are solidifying themselves very nicely. So I mean, it is not done just yet. I do think maybe those teams at the top maybe 2 are solidifying themselves very nicely. That's not certain.
But for me, this is what I love about seeing, you know, PUBG Mobile kind of mature over time, is that if you think back to earlier tournaments, we would have just landslides. Think it back to BTR with over 100-point lead. But now we are seeing it be so close every single stage throughout this entire event. And right now we can't call who's going to be necessarily fully going through, or at least the whole 5 teams. But you know what? We still have to wait. We still have 2 matches left to go. Before we get into that, though, I remind you guys once again that the Infinix GT10 Pro, official smartphone here at PMGC 2023, all the players are participating on it because it was born for them. Born, I was going to say bred for them, but born for them to participate and obviously take home potentially a chance in the grand finals. And of course, while they're on that, they're checking out TikTok, but also beyond that, they're doing many more things, like playing in the Frost Festival. Maybe not quite right now. Obviously, their focus is on trying to qualify, but I'm sure betting they're going to be doing that in between now and PMGC Grand Finals kicking off in December. So you guys can pick it up as well and check it out. But obviously, don't do it just yet. We still have 2 matches to come, so do that later on today. And you can also pick up, well, not to mention up again, you can get that for yourselves. You also play in the, oh my gosh, I forgot the name, the Popular Annual Gala. How can I forget? Because I lost all 10 of my matches, just like I normally would, Max. Right?
We're used to it.
Yeah, you're used to it.
Yeah.
You guys can play for November 15th to December 19th. Take on your 10 matches, win some exclusive rewards for yourself. The Gandy collaboration going on as well within PUBG Mobile. You guys can pick up your 2 vehicles as on to R in particular. I know, Claris, you're looking towards that one. And not to mention, on top of that, you can get your victory dance as well, so you can support your favorite teams and tell everyone in the lobby who you are rooting for. We're going to head to a break. We have Miramar coming up on the way with 2 matches left to go, both on Miramar. And it's really anyone's game who can get through in the top 5. We'll see you in a soon. So we're going to have a little chat with you right now. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be necessarily, but I do know about how long it's going to be. Max, man, are you, let me just ask you this. Are you pretty satisfied with the teams you currently have in the top 5?
No.
Okay. That's not the answer I was expecting. I kind of wish there was more slots, considering the quality of teams, the caliber of teams we have at the moment.
Yeah, I wanted to see Infinix Rage, Enigma Galaxy doing a little bit better here. I think that some teams at the top have some good showcases in terms of, for example, DX already good at placement points, maybe not limbs. It's just going to be tough to transition into the grand finals, but I think we can still have big changes here on these last 2 matches.
I get into this every single time, Claris, but as we approach our last 2 matches, we obviously know which teams will not be getting through. Is this where they get to be an extra force in the lobby and potentially change the fate of some of the teams?
No, honestly, if it was me, I would just get more extremely aggressive, right? Like, just try something insane, but I don't know if it's going to materialize.
He said the thing, Max. Let's head over to our commentators to get into our 5th match of the day, our penultimate match. It's over on Miramar. Jackie and Blake, take it away.
Thanks, Jason. That's right, man. 2 games left. That's all that there is to decide the fate of some of these teams, Blank. And with how competitive today's been, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, how's it going to go? Is there any going to be a last-minute shift, a last-minute disbalance for some of these squads to break into the top 5, Blank? Or do we know who is going to the finals? Oh, look how hyped up Duxan are. That's where we need to be. That's the sort of energy that everyone at home should have for these last 2 games.
Yeah, we need that Duxan fighting. We need all these teams fighting to get themselves in towards that top spot. Right now, for the guys over on Duxan, it's not looking impossible. Neither is it for a few teams ahead of them, right? Team Kato, IHC, Inco, as well as Influence Rage. Just the barest breath away. Duxan currently the furthest behind at 11 points. I would say most teams underneath this position, though, a little bit difficult to get in, right? Not impossible, with the way that we saw Duxan get themselves a 29-point game earlier on today, but very, very tough indeed. Heading over towards Miramar, though, this is FaZe's match of choice, and we're dropping down to 3rd place. This is likely where they want to bump those points up just a little bit more, but I would say 3rd, 2nd, 1st, looking fairly healthy at the moment in terms of point. BTR definitely in that difficult